Hey everybody, what's going on? So, do you want to work forever? Because I know I definitely don't. I'd like to stop working someday and retire. What if I told you there's a way for you to retire and do it with someone else's money? Yeah, stay tuned and I'm explaining that to you coming up next. Do you know what a 401k is? I'm willing to bet you've heard of the term, but are you familiar with it? Do you know exactly what it is? So some of you have probably heard of a 401k, but what if I told you there's a way for you to take this, investment vehicle and fill it up with someone else's money that you get to keep and not pay taxes on? Yeah, it's all those things. First things first, do you know what a 401k is? If you know, pause the video. Put the answer down below. Some of you may, and don't you cheat. I'll know if you cheated because I'll recognize the response. Some of you may, some of you may not. Some of you may have heard of a 401k, some of you may have not. Do you know why it's called a 401k? Put it down in the comments below. I'm curious to see what kind of answers we come up with. So what is a 401k? A 401k is nothing more than a savings account with tax advantages. That's it. It's that plain and simple. It's a way for you to save money for retirement that kind of keeps Uncle Sam's greedy little mitts off of it. That's all our 401k is. Simple, easy, straightforward, right? Tax advantage, you say. What type of tax advantages are we talking about? What if I told you that 401ks let you give Uncle Sam less of the money you're making now? It allows you to not have him take any of the money that you make with the money that you didn't give him a piece of going forward. Yeah, see, 401ks is designed for you to set money aside so that someday you can stop working. And the money that's used for your 401k usually, depending upon the type, is not going to let Uncle Sam take a piece of it. So if you made, X number of dollars, instead of Uncle Sam taking the piece off the top, you get to take a certain percentage of that money and sit it to the side without worrying about him trying to take a piece of it. But there was something you mentioned before about filling it up with somebody else's money. If I could have an account, I don't care what type of account, and we could fill it with someone else's money, and I get to keep the money, and I get to keep the money that the money makes, now you have my attention. Well, that's what a 401k is. So you may have one, or you may not have one, unfortunately, but you will have one after the day. And a 401k is a way for you to save money, tax deferred, well, for you to have tax advantages, and you can fill it up with someone else's money. You got a pencil and paper, because you're going to pay attention to this part. So someone else's money, it's free money. So you can have someone else put money in there for you. Now, let's be clear, because I don't BS you guys, I keep it 100 with you. Someone's going to put in the same amount of money you're going to put in. So if you put in $5, they put in $5. You put in $10, they put in $10. You put in 10,000, they put in 10,000. See, that's called matching. It's when your employer, whoever it is you work for, says, all right, whatever money you put in there, I'm going to put in the same amount. Which means if you got 10 grand, you put it in, they going to take 10 grand and put it in. So now I get 10 grand, it just became 20,000. You just doubled your money. I done did it. You're welcome. They applause, all that. But that's what matching is when they take whatever money you put in and they match it. They put in the same amount. You may have heard this term, you may not know what it is, or maybe you are familiar with it, but you don't get it. They do that. Now, if you're like me, you're skeptical and you're wondering, wait, why are they doing that? Is there some kind of hustle here? What's the catch? So let's be clear, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. There's a reason they're doing it. They get a tax break on it too. See, a 401k is named after the IRS tax code that governs it. That's why they call it a 401k. That's the tax code is literally called 401k tax code. So why do companies match the money you put in there? Because they don't got to pay taxes on the money that they put in there with you. So when you put 10 grand in, you don't got to pay money. You don't have to pay taxes on that, depending upon the type of IRA. But for 401ks, usually, for most like a traditional one, you don't pay tax on that money. And when your company, whoever you work for, puts that same matching amount in, they don't pay taxes on that neither. So you put in 10 grand, you're not paying tax on that 10 grand, usually. When they put in 10 grand to match your 10 grand, they're not paying tax on either. See, don't nobody want to pay Uncle Sam any extra money. They don't. So if you can avoid paying them and your company or your employer can avoid paying them, everybody's trying to lower that tax bill as much as possible. Fun fact, the military has a 401k. It's called the Thrift Savings Plan. They do matching now too. Now, how it is the military is not paying money to the government, but their money comes from the government is weird. That's a video for another day. It's the blended retirement system. That month's coming up soon. I think I'm gonna touch on that because I've had people asking me about that. But yeah, everybody's got matching because nobody wants to pay Uncle Sam any extra money, including Uncle Sam. A 401k is just a savings account that lets you put money in there So you don't have to pay tax on the money going in, usually, if it's traditional 401k. And your employer is going to match that money. Now, how do you know if your employer matches? They're going to have it blasted everywhere because they want you to put money in there, because the more money you put in, the more money they can put in. The more money they can put in, the less money they got to pay taxes on. And so how much money can they put in? You can't put your whole salary in. That's not how that works. Like if you make $100,000, you can't say, put the $100,000 in. I want y'all to put in $100,000. No. And on average, about 3% of your pay is what they'll match. You could have some good employers who do up to like 5%, and some will do in different tiers. Like the military does, I think it's up to 5% matching. Some of your larger banks, more cash-intensive businesses, when businesses who bring in more money, gonna want to put more into that. But usually about 3%. Now you know what it is. You know how to get somebody else's money in there, and you get to keep that money. Let's say that you work for McDonald's and you put 10 grand in, and then they match it and they put 10 grand in. This obviously isn't a one shot. Nobody at McDonald's is making that kind of money. Well, maybe, but usually the people working at McDonald's are making that kind of money. You put 10 grand in, they put 10 grand in. When you leave, you get to keep your 10,000 and their 10,000. You should be matching. If your company offers matching and you're not maxing out, you are leaving money on the table. So what would you rather have, $1 now or $2 later? Shut up, it don't matter. Future you wants the $2 later. You are not gonna miss that $1 now, but that $1 over interest and time and it flipping over in itself and invested, future you will thank you. Tomorrow you will thank you. If you are not, maxing out the 401k match at your job, do that now. Like tonight, before you go to bed, if you can. If you can't do it tonight, tomorrow morning, the first thing you call HR, I want to change it. If there's open enrollment, then you need to set a calendar reminder on your phone, set one on your computer, set one at your job, put a post-it, everything. You need to max out whatever they're doing because it's free money. You leaving money on the table. And no matter what it is, I need my money, you are not going to miss that little 3%. You ain't going to miss it. I promise you won't. I promise you won't. I don't care if you make $100,000 a year. That's $3 grand. You ain't going to miss it. I don't care if you make $10,000 a year. That's $300. You ain't gonna miss it. But that 300 turned into 600. Now it matters. Would you rather double your money for some cash that you're not gonna miss, or you gonna squander away today? Don't do that. Don't squander it. If you have a 401k, if you don't have one, first off, get one. You need one ASAP. I don't care if you 18, 28, 38, 48, 58. If you some of them later numbers, you are way behind, and there's strategies and things we can do to catch you up. Let me know. You can inbox me. I'll make a video about catching up when you're later on in life. But I don't care what your age is. You need a 401k. If your company matches, you max out the match. Period. This is not up for debate. It's free money. There's nothing you can tell me that's going to make sense. They're giving away money. If you're not taking it, you are making a mistake. So that's what today's video was about. It was about a 401k, what it is, why you need one, what matching is, and why you need to max out the matching. But that's it, man. That's me. I'm Larry. I'm not just a veteran banker. I'm your veteran banker. I'm here to help y'all out. Now, if your company doesn't offer a 401k, you let me know, and we're going to have some follow-up videos about what to do in that occurrence. Because hope is not lost. There are still things you can do. Your employer probably sucks, but there are things you can do so that you don't have to work for the rest of your natural life. That's what y'all get when y'all come here. Plain English, simple answers to help you navigate the financial landscape. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm here to help. You got questions, comments, concerns? Let me know. Other than that, I'll see y'all later. Peace.